What is going on, Gen Nation? It's your boy Spartacus, and I am here today for the Sunday show, just trying to kind of keep you guys up to date on some of the best news and some of the best announcements. A slow week. Not every week is going to be like the big headbangers, but we have a couple of announcements, a couple of things. I mean, a lot of you probably know that the Snyder Cut trailer came out today. I gave it a look-see, and it's like a mixed bag for me. I'm excited for the Snyder Cut of Justice League to come out. The real reason I'm excited is not so much that I think Zack Snyder is going to somehow fix the DCEU with one movie. I wouldn't mind seeing his vision and his overall thoughts for the entire universe maybe come to fruition on HBO Max. If they want to keep it separate from the big major releases, that's fine. But I still, I said a few weeks back, he was the guy who basically started the DCEU. He built the foundation that it followed for a long time, and it didn't start to really get better until they started to deviate from his vision. I'm more excited for it to come out, mainly because I don't think he's a terrible director. He's got a very unique style and a very specific a way of doing things. He's got a good way of using slow-mo, and he's got a phenomenal visual eye. And honestly, he deserves to see his actual creation, his actual thought and goal achieved on screen. He went through some tragic shit when he was filming the Justice League the first time. And, as a way of honoring his daughter, I absolutely, or his child, I don't remember if it was his daughter or his son, but as a way of honoring their memory, I will go and watch this movie and make sure he knows that he has my support. I know I'm like a blip in the bucket for him, but to me, it's worthy enough to go watch this movie or this series, however it comes out. No matter if it's good or bad, I'm going to watch it. It comes out March 15th, I believe. So we're not that far away. Definitely support him. He I don't want to go into detail about what happened, but he went through some pretty crappy stuff as a father, as a husband, as a family man. So I would let him have this, and I want him to know that we support him. But instead of keeping it sad and upsetting, let's just kind of go right through some of the bigger announcements. In the video game TV crossover world, Jack Black was announced as Claptrap in the Borderlands game movie. Now, I never really played the Borderlands game. I played Borderlands 2 because it was free on PlayStation a few months back. I didn't finish the whole thing. I didn't play very enough to even know who Claptrap is. But Jack Black is a phenomenal comedic performer. He's a good actor, and I'm sure his character's gonna be more CGI than anything else. So, I think it's to have a name like that in the movie, and I know that they've already announced a couple of other directors and writers like that, some big name people. I'm all for it. I'm honestly, and if it's a video game movie, I'm going to watch it because I think the video game industry is ripe for tapping into the same way Marvel was able to tap into their comic books. All it takes is it's going to take one person to see the potential of a video game shared universe. If you pick the right kind of game, like for example, in my opinion, Mortal Kombat, instead of coming out with one movie with a ton of characters, they could easily make Mortal Kombat the event movie and release the mythologies like Ed Boon, I think, wanted to for a while, and have individual movies for each character, kind of set up their arcs, set up their characters and personalities, and then kind of guide them towards, at the end of each movie, say they get the invitation to be in the Mortal Kombat tournament, and they have their own reasons for going there. And then you have the big Mortal Kombat movie, boom, it's like Avengers. It could be huge. Netflix, if anyone's from Netflix or has any sway in Netflix listening, don't steal the idea, but it's yours. I give it to you. But that's really what should be happening. Instead of trying to shoehorn tons of story into one movie, games have hours and hours and hours to get their characters straight and get their plot line set up. So, it really lends itself more to a shared universe kind of style movie or a TV show. And Netflix seems like they're kind of aiming at the gaming world, but we'll see what happens there. Also in the video game movie adaptations or realm, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has been given an official name and coming out in 2022, and it's called Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But what I love about it is that the 2 has it looks like the tails from the character tails from the game. which goes right in line with the games because in the second Sonic Adventure game for Sega Genesis, you got to play as Tails. They teased him in the first movie in one of the after credit scenes, so it's kind of expected. But anyone who hasn't seen the first one, it's actually a really good movie, entertaining for kids. If you're a fan of Sonic or the games from back in the day, if you have that nostalgic kind of connection, it's also entertaining. James Marsden is a great kind of solid lead or a solid actor to go against Sonic. He does a good job. So, and Jim Carrey surprised me. He was actually a decent Robotnik, although I guess it was more of a Robotnik origin story because we kind of at the very end see the Eggman that we kind of expected to see from the movies, from the games. We also have, again, sticking with the video game movie adaptations, The Last of Us TV series. So some big announcements in the casting of that. The girl who played Lyanna Stark, let me see if I can just get her name for you, is going to be playing Ellie. She played. Oh, I'm sorry, Lyanna Mormont. I'm sorry. Her name is Bella Ramsey, but she played Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones. Is going to be playing Ellie, and then Pedro Pascal. He's just winning me over with everything he does. Is going to be playing our man Joel. I've heard kind of a little bit. I've read a little bit of back and forth on some people love it, some people don't. The character of Joel, I guess people kind of cling to the way he looks in the movies or in the games. You don't really need someone to look like the character. It's really more about being able to portray the someone with a troubled past who will do what he has to do to survive. This is a post-apocalyptic zombie kind of style show. The game was post-apocalyptic with a little bit of a more realistic reason for the zombie apocalypse, even though they're not really zombies. And Pedro Pascal is just a phenomenal actor. He kills it. And, if he can do well as the Mandalorian, where he wears a mask for 98% of his screen time, he can kill it as Joel 100%. So I'm all for it. She was a great actress in Game of Thrones. She did a good job, but she only had a small role. She wasn't really that huge. She became a fan favorite almost instantly with her role in Game of Thrones. So just judging off that alone, she should be fine. She's probably at the right age too, so I'm kind of excited for it. I think this is the perfect example of, instead of trying to take this game that's 20 hours of gameplay with lore and all this background information and jam it into a 2-hour movie and try to just get the same feeling across. They're making it a show. Let's say it's 8 to 10 episodes. I don't know if they've even announced that yet. 45 to an hour each episode. That'll give you the time to really introduce the characters, let them build the relationship. The game was all about the relationship between Joel and Ellie. So in a show like this, you can have that same kind of dynamic take place over so many days, months. In the game, it went through an entire year essentially. So we can get that here too. So that's a big announcement. That's awesome. I don't think there's really any other video game stuff. So let's go into kind of the movies. First, I want to talk about Jared Leto. So we saw a brand new image of him as the Joker for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just in the one image alone, he looks way better than he did in Suicide Squad. I was never, ever, ever a fan of the silver grill. I was never a fan of the tattoos. To me, that kind of stuff didn't seem to fit what I think the Joker is. For him, it's not like he's trying to fit in. He doesn't intimidate you just because he kind of has the tattoos and looks like a gangster. He intimidates you mainly because you never know what he's thinking. He's either he could kill you at the drop of a hat. He could laugh at something you said that generally would be offensive. He could have a master plan, or he can just be winging it. You have zero idea what he's going to do. And I felt like in Suicide Squad, he looked more. They were trying to go for more of a Joker that was menacing because of maybe the history of his crime versus Heath Ledger's Joker, where when he walked into a room laughing, you couldn't tell if it was a sarcastic laugh, if he genuinely thought something was funny, if he was just laughing because he was about to blow up the entire room while he was standing in it. And even if you go to a Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie, it was the same thing. What made him scary towards the end of that film, spoiler alert, was that you didn't know what he was going to do. He may have looked angry, but he's telling you a joke. He might be laughing, but he's got a gun pointed to your head. I think in this one, he still looks a little too kind of a down-to-earth Joker. Joker kind of, I feel like, needs to be a little bit of a bigger-than-life kind of character. But, I know he's not going to be a huge part of the movie, but just based off the look alone, he's already won me over or won points in his favor as Joker. And if he does a decent job enough in his short scenes in the movie, then maybe I might be a little more on board with a Jared Leto focused Joker and Batman kind of story. Um, Another thing that gets me sort of excited, it kind of keeps me in 50-50 on whether I'm excited about it or not, is M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Old. So, in my opinion, M. Night Shyamalan has a history of good ideas, really good trailers, and he just doesn't execute. I love Unbreakable, Sixth Sense. I mean, who doesn't like that? Signs I thought was pretty good. And then you get your Ladies in the Water and You're the Happenings and Last Airbender, Avatar, Last Airbender, or I guess they didn't call it Avatar, but it's like you get The Village. These ideas are interesting ideas. I think he got a little too big. His ego got a little too big for his style. And once he went to The Visit and kind of brought it a little bit back down to earth, he started to escalate his storytelling again. Then he did Split, which was an excellent movie. In my opinion, one of his best movies, mainly because James McAvoy just absolutely killed that role. But then he gets a little excited again and tries to, does Glass and tries to kind of one-up himself. And while Glass was good, again, James McAvoy kind of carried it. Bruce Willis did a good job in it. It may have been the last time Bruce Willis actually looked like he cared in a movie. But then, the ending kind of falls flat. So we go back and forth. This doesn't look like it is a big budget film. Doesn't look like it's got a lot of hype behind it. It seems like it's this island that these families go to visit, and then something in the island makes them age very quickly. But we know it's M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, and he's going to have a giant twist. Or not a giant twist. He's going to have in his mind what's a giant twist. But if the twist doesn't land, then the whole movie is going to be built around it. That's what he does. He thinks he's a genius, and every twist he comes up with is just so fantastic. But who knows? It could just be something like, oh, the water is old, and the fountain of youth somehow takes your life force. I don't know. If I'm right, then I said it first. But I like his slow burn kind of style. A lot of his movies are dialogue heavy, but the way he writes isn't that terrible. So, I'm pretty sure it's just going to come straight to HBO Max or something. So that's I'm not too concerned. At least I can see it from home. But I'm half excited, half not. Other big news in the movie world or TV show world is there's a sequel. And I'm excited about this. There's a sequel to Face Off in the works. Face Off is the movie with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, where John Travolta starts off as the hero cop. He captures Nicolas Cage's crook or villain or bad guy, whatever you want to call him. But they have a personal vendetta because Nicolas Cage, while trying to kill John Travolta, accidentally killed his son. But then Nicolas Cage's brother knows about. So Nicolas Cage is unconscious. He planted a bomb somewhere. The brother knows about it. The brother's in a maximum security prison. So they take Nicolas Cage's face, put it on John Travolta, but they have to take John Travolta's face off in order to do that. And then they, some other mumbo jumbo to make sure the heights match and the hair and voice and all that stuff. They send Nicolas Cage or John Travolta with Nicolas Cage's face into prison to talk to his brother. But out of nowhere, Nicolas Cage's body wakes up from a coma, forces the doctors to take John Travolta's face and put it on himself, kills all the doctors, and now is living John Travolta's life. It's a crazy concept. I think John Woo's the one who directed it. It's a fun movie. The action's great. Nicolas Cage is good. John Travolta kills it as the villain. When it's John Travolta acting like Nicolas Cage is the criminal. Awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, it's just a classic action, guns blazing everywhere, just doves flying in slow motion. Awesome movie. So the fact that there's a sequel coming, it's one of those things where did it need a sequel? No, but I am happy that it's not just a reboot or reimagining or something like that. The movie doesn't need it. It came out in 1997. I prefer a sequel if there has to be one. And honestly, if by the end of the movie, if I remember correctly, spoiler alert, John Travolta's character is alive with his family, and he's got Nicolas Cage's actual son in the movie, Castor Troy's son, living with his family. So if John Travolta needs to make an appearance, the man is due for a comeback. The bald head with the shaved face. He can do action. The man can act. They need to this needs to be his comeback vehicle. Um, I wanted to quickly just kind of touch on the Britney Spears documentary. My wife and I watched that yesterday. I had heard a lot of things. Justin Timberlake had to apologize for the way he acted after him and Britney Spears broke up back in the day. He apologized to Janet Jackson because of whole Nipplegate and the Super Bowl. I forget how long ago that was. You hear a lot of the cancel culture. I won't go into my own real opinions. Everyone can believe what they want to believe. I will say that the documentary was decent, but I feel like it was a little, especially the Justin Timberlake stuff, was built up to be a major, major part of the documentary. And I think they only talked about it for within the first 10 minutes or so, for about 5 to 10 minutes at the most, 5 to 7 minutes at the most or whatever. And then that was it. And then the rest of the documentary had to do more with her and her issues with the conservatorship with her father and her money and all that stuff. It's worth a watch if you're a fan of Britney Spears. If you grew up in that time period, anyone my age was around when Britney Spears first jumped onto the scene. Same thing with Justin Timberlake and NSYNC. So in that case, it's worth watching. But I didn't think it was as phenomenal as a lot of people talked about. Maybe I'm just kind of outgrown it. Who knows? And then also briefly, I just wanted to mention, for anyone who doesn't know, Gina Carano, who was in The Mandalorian, and who either was rumored to be getting her own show on Disney Plus as the same character, or was going to be a part of the Rogue Squadron show, is no longer a part of The Mandalorian. She's been fired by Disney. She won't be in any future projects due to a lot of posts she made that were basically in poor taste. Whether you agree with the things she said or not, whether you agree that the posts were in poor taste or not, again, I'm not going to go into my own opinions, but I will say that in today's day and age, you have to be careful what you're posting, especially if you've been warned. So from what I understand, whether you agree with the post that got her fired or not, if it doesn't matter so much that whether she posted it was a good post or not, whether you agree with it or not, whether it was what fits the world right now. The fact of the matter is, she was told to stop, and she was told to stop a long time ago, and she didn't stop. I understand free speech, but there are always consequences, whether the speech is free or not. You're free to say whatever you want, but if you're working for somebody, then you have to abide by the rules set by your employer. If I'm working at GNC and a customer comes in and says, "Oh, I want to get a 6-pack," and I said to them, "Well, stop eating donuts, fatty." I could say it. And if they complain to my boss, I might get fired for it. It's not, no one's saying that I couldn't say it, but there are consequences to your actions. That's kind of how it always is. So, I feel like just when you really look, there's a history there of her making some posts on various social media accounts, being told to stop doing it. She wouldn't stop doing it. She wouldn't apologize for it. They kind of let her go a few times. It's kind of like 3 strikes and you're out. So this last post was the last straw. And she's, I think, even doubled down saying she's not going to apologize, which again is fine. If she doesn't want to apologize, she doesn't have to apologize. She said it, but we need to stop acting like they're taking away her right to speak. She can say whatever she wants, and she was getting better as an actress. She's got the action star kind of chops, so she'll probably get picked up somewhere else. Probably be in another movie. If you agree with what she said and you want to support her, go support her wherever she goes. And if you don't agree, you don't have to watch. This is a free country for a reason. So if you wanted to change the channel or not watch The Mandalorian because she was in it, that's all on you. You can do whatever you want. But so that was kind of a big announcement, because she was a pretty big part of the show, and they were clearly setting her up to have kind of a long-term career in the Disney or in the Star Wars universe. And then the last thing, Joss Whedon, a lot of things have been coming out about him in the last week or two. More than that, actually, because Ray Fisher brought it up, months ago now at this point. And it just seems like there's more and more people coming out with more and more stuff. He's the geek hero, right? Because he did the Avengers and a few other movies, and had his hand in a lot of what the MCU is now. The MCU is clearly not going to stop. And the fact that even as he stopped being a part of the MCU, and in my opinion, that almost escalated. The MCU got better, because people like the Russos got involved, and Disney and Feige while Feige has his overall hand in what's going on and what's said and the plot threads and all that stuff, they seem to really let the directors take the reins with Taika Waititi, with James Gunn. you know, so he doesn't have to be in Hollywood anymore. I'm sure he's made enough money where he could just retire and just call it a day. But if anyone hasn't heard, he's I know they haven't said specifically what he did, what he's done, but it seems like every project he's been on has had a pretty crappy working environment, and I think we've pretty much seen or heard the last of Joss Whedon anywhere. I know he has a new show, The Nevers, I think, coming out to HBO. That got a trailer about Victorian London, kind of sci-fi or something like that. Um, but I don't know if I'm going to watch it. That kind of genre or that kind of time period doesn't really interest me too much. So I'm not that upset that he's an asshole because listen, I could, as far as I'm concerned, most people in Hollywood, especially the ones that have been in Hollywood for 20 plus years since I was young, are probably all scumbags and have a lot of crap in their closet, and it's just a matter of time before we find out. So I'm kind of not surprised. But then those are really the big announcements that came out this week. We have, oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot one. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier trailer came out, and damn, that looks good. Not only did it come out, what I'm most excited for, and I'm going to talk more about the trailer on Tuesday, right after the WandaVision review, because I want to kind of keep the detailed stuff for Marvel on one episode a week. But what what makes me most excited is Falcon and Winter Soldier is out early March. WandaVision is going to be done right in early March, or Falcon Winter Soldier is mid-March, I should say. So we're essentially going right from WandaVision straight into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't think the shows are going to tie in together too much. I feel like the time frame is going to be similar, and while Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be doing its own thing, WandaVision is kind of like on the other side of the world. I do think that Falcon and Winter Soldier might tie into the upcoming Black Widow movie. And I'm sure we'll see some tie-ins towards the end of the show that tie into whatever happens at the end of WandaVision. Again, I'm just going to keep repeating it. WandaVision is supposed to set up Phase 4 of the MCU. This is if it hasn't sunk in yet, WandaVision is a major moment in the MCU as a whole. It's a big deal, and it's basically going to guide the future of the Marvel movies and TV shows going forward. The TV shows on Disney Plus are going to have a much bigger tie-in and impact to the movies that are coming out. And there's been a lot of announcements as far as like the what's coming out for Marvel. And just as I got this text earlier, just as an idea, this is all the things that are currently being filmed right now for Marvel. You got Spider-Man 3 being filmed, Doctor Strange 2 being filmed, Thor 4 being worked on, Miss Marvel's a TV show that's being worked on, the Hawkeye show being worked on, Quantum Mania is in the early shoots, that's going to be Ant-Man 3, that's being worked on, Loki, we already saw a trailer a few months back, that's being worked on. Next month, She-Hulk and Moon Knight are both starting production. There's a lot of Marvel coming out, and that's not including the What If show that comes out this year. Black Widow is supposed to be in a month or two. As of right now, we still haven't heard if Disney's going to be changing it to Disney Plus. Looks like it's still coming out in the theaters, but that's going to be that's our first Marvel full blown movie coming out for Phase 4, and that's going to give us full closure on Black Widow, on Scarlett Johansson in particular. That's a big deal. And then again, Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man 3 all tie into WandaVision, so whatever's going on with her and the Hex and all that stuff is going to be a big deal. Episode 6 dropped. A lot of questions from episode 6, but I'm going to save those for Tuesday. I don't want to go overboard. I want to rein it in because I get too excited. But that's a lot, and if you haven't seen the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer, go online and check it out. Jump in on Tuesday and let me know what you think. That's going to be a major thing. Baron von Zemo's back with the classic costume mask or comic book mask. They already showed Sharon Carter is going to be in it. So, it's nice. Again, we're full blown into the swing of Marvel now, and I'm excited about that. So that really will do it for the show. For today, I will edit this. I'll post it together, a little recap later today or tomorrow. If I missed anything or if there was something you wanted me to talk about, please let me know. I will have links to all the social medias and all the different, any of the trailers, anything I talked about in the description below. Tuesday, I will be talking about WandaVision episode 6. I'll go into detail on the show. I'll go into my Easter eggs. I'll go into my theories. I will also talk about the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer. I'll kind of pull out some details there. I'll scour the web for some things I may have missed. We're also talking about From Russia with Love, which is the second Bond movie in the long history of Bond movies. I'm just kind of moving through that also. And my wife came up with some pretty good snacks for us to watch this week, to eat while we're watching this weekend. So I'll throw it on there. In the gaming world, Mario 3D World came out with Bowser's Fury, which is, anyone who didn't know, is the first fully open world Mario game. It's not 100% open world, but it is that portion, that little game that comes with the package, is a full open world, and you get to fight a kaiju-sized Bowser in a cat suit. And if that sounds weird to you, then you probably haven't been playing Mario in a long time. So check that out if you can. I've also been playing Control on PS5. It's free this month if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. On PS5, it looks amazing. But if you like Max Payne, you're also going to like the game too. So check that out. And then that'll be it. So thanks for joining. As always, like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, what kind of content you want. I'm always looking for ideas. And while you're at it, check out the rest of the Generational Gaming and Entertainment Network, Scythe X, The Captain, Skills One Shot, I think his name is, or just One Shot. A lot of Call of Duty, a lot of sniping. It's just a lot of good stuff. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday.